Do you know the main reason men stop chasing you? Not because he found someone prettier or doesn't love you anymore, but because you, without realizing it, you let him forget you, just as you heard. He now controls your emotional life. When he shows up, calls, and her presence is elevating. The worst part, my darling, is that as you wait by the phone like a teen in love, he's crafting a life where you're optional, utterly optional. This may be the clearest thing anyone has told you. A man doesn't pursue you because he doesn't need to. And that's that. It's your fault, not theirs, yours. You will eventually, in this connection, you taught me that I could go for 3 days and come back as if nothing had occurred, that I could cancel arrangements and you would be there, smiling, understanding, available. You showed that your love is priceless, free, plentiful, limitless. And human beings, my love, don't respect what we obtain without labor. Now, before you start feeling bad or to think I'm insensitive, let me explain something. I'm not here to make you feel horrible. I'm come to wake up. Because while you keep waiting for him to change, to mature, to don't let him realize how amazing you are, there's another lady who knows how to get a man up at 3 a.m. tomorrow, only to see her for 5 minutes. And it's not because she's more gorgeous or more. He's brighter than you because he understands something fundamental about male psychology that you've overlooked. Completely. Imagine this scene. It's Friday night. He texted you. 3 days ago, he said he was busy, that work was overwhelming him, that he would call you. You, understanding as always, you told him there was no problem, that you understood well. Now you're home, watching shows you're not interested in, checking your phone every 5 minutes, waiting for that message that never arrives. He arrives, and meantime, he's at a bar with his friends, laughing, drinking, beer, without thinking of you for a second, because it knows with full sure that you'll be there when he gets back. You're always there. Do you realize the problem? It's not that he's a nasty person. It's that you taught him he can treat you this way. Your limitless availability became your deadliest enemy. And now, here comes what's truly going to happen to you. It will hurt. I want you to listen to this carefully because it's the harshest reality I'm going to give you today. If you don't change right now, if you don't learn to make yourself valuable in his eyes, you're going to lose him. And not just that, you're going to lose him. Versus another woman who doesn't know how to play this game. A woman who doesn't return all his texts quickly. Who he has such a full and exciting life that he needs to struggle for room in his calendar. And when that happens, when you see her images on social media with her, smiling that way she used to smile at yourself, you'll recall this moment. You'll remember that someone warned you, and you choose to keep doing it. The same. Because here's the deal, my love. Men aren't complicated. We're tremendously simple. We chase what eludes us. We respect what is hard-won, and we get bored. Mortally from what is constantly available. It's biology, it's evolution, it's the male brain functioning just as it has for thousands of years. Your ex, your present relationship, that the man who has you in limbo, they all function under the same neurochemical laws. And if you don't understand those, you're playing chess with the rules of dominoes. Now, listen closely to what I'm about to say. This isn't losing him, it's about losing yourself. Because every time you accept crumbs of attention, every time you rationalize their disinterest, every time what is pursuing and why does it make you lose value, if you settle for being an option, you're undermining your self-esteem piece by piece. And there comes a moment, believe me, I've seen it thousands of times in my practice, where a woman loses she has so much self-respect that she no longer even knows the person she sees in the mirror. She becomes a shadow. In someone who lives to the emotional crumbs of man who doesn't even recognize the damage he's causing. And here comes the part that should scare you the most, because it's not just about him finding someone else. It's about that you get used to this pattern, that you normalize emotional abuse, that you train your brain to believe that this is love, that this constant anxiety is passion, that this suffering is romantic. And when that happens, when your brain is built around toxic relationships, you start hunting for the exact same type of man, over and over and over again. You become an expert at choosing men who won't value you, and you move on. From 45 to 60, repeating the same awful cycle. asking why does this usually happen to you? Why can't you ever find someone who actually loves you? Do you want to know what the worst part is? That he'll be happy with someone else? As long as you continue locked in this routine, he'll ultimately learn that there are women who do not tolerate their disappearances, women who have firm limits, and one of those ladies will make him a man you always wanted him to be. He'll call when he says he's going to he'll call. He'll establish plans and follow through. He'll gladly introduce her to his family, and you'll see it all from your seat, far away, from your solitude, wondering, what does she have that you didn't have? And the answer will be straightforward and awful. She valued herself. You didn't. But we haven't gotten to the worst of it yet, since what's genuinely terrible isn't. For him to rebuild his life means that you lose the ability to rebuild yours. You reach 50, 55, 60 years old with so much fear of loneliness makes you accept everything. Any man who gives you a little attention, no matter how you feel. Try it. And believe me, there are men who can smell desperation from miles away. Distance. And those men, they are the worst. They're the ones who will take advantage of your vulnerability, your need to feel loved, your dread of being alone. They will emotionally deplete you, monetarily, spiritually. And when there's nothing left of you, when you're just an empty shell, they're going to depart, looking for his next victim. Do you see where this is going? We're not just talking about him not looking for you. We're talking of your whole life, of your capacity to be happy, of your right to be loved as you deserve. And everything, absolutely everything, hinges on decisions you make. Take action from this moment on, because you may keep doing the same thing and expect different outcomes, like a madman. Or you can listen to what I'm going to tell you. An entirely shift to this will transform the dynamics of your relationships forever. And let me clarify something before we begin. This isn't manipulation. No, I'm training you not to play mind games with anyone. I'm teaching you to respect your own mind. I'm training you to establish standards, to have limits, to be the kind of woman a quality man. He pursues her because he knows that if he doesn't, he'll lose her. And there's a significant difference between manipulating and having dignity. Manipulation arises from fear and insecurity. Dignity stems from love, self-respect, and decency. And what I'm trying to teach you today is based on dignity, not in cheap psychological games. Now, let's discuss about basic neurology. When a man gets something effortlessly, his brain releases dopamine. Yes, but it's a brief, superficial release, like when you eat a donut, which is rich in dopamine. It's a moment, but not nourishing, nor rewarding in the long run. Instead, when you have to make an effort, when he has to overcome hurdles, when he has to establish his worth to beat you, his brain engages circuits more deeper. It delves into areas connected to purpose, achievement, and conquering. And that's it. It establishes a far stronger and more permanent connection. It's the difference between a yearning and actual hunger, between the fleeting attraction and deep desire. And here's the key that most ladies don't comprehend. It's not about making it difficult for you. It's about being hard to get because your life is actually valuable and interesting, because you have ideas, passions, friendships, aspirations that don't revolve around from him. When a man believes he has to fight with you for your attention, when he sees you have options, when he understands you don't need him, but rather choose him, everything changes, absolutely everything. Because males, my love, we are creatures of conquest. It's in our DNA. We need to feel that we get something useful, and if you give yourself away without him making any effort, you are taking from him an opportunity to value yourself. Now you're going to believe this is unfair. That's why you're the one who needs to change. Why can't he just recognize how beautiful you are without all that? These games. And you're right. In an ideal world, love should be enough. But we don't live in a world ideally, we live in the real world. And in the real world, the dynamics of attraction and desire function in unique ways. You can grumble about it, or you can learn from it and use it to your benefit. I prefer the second option. I prefer you to be a strong woman who knows how the game works, not a victim who asks why he usually loses. And before you continue thinking he's a monster who doesn't value you, let me tell you something else. He probably doesn't even realize what he's doing. He's not a writhing villain. His hands are thinking about how to make you suffer. He's simply a human being responding to the stimulus you give him. If you act like you have no value, he'll treat you like you do. You had, not because it's awful, but because that's how we all work. We respond to perceived value. And perceived value is built with deeds, not words, with boundaries, not with pleading, but with dignity, not with despair. Think about this. When if you're going to buy something, what do you value more? What's on permanent sale, or what's carefully exhibited in the window, presented at a price that reflects its quality? I realize it sounds cold to compare you to a product, but your brain and his brain operates on identical concepts of perceived value. I'm not by suggesting you should be an object. I'm saying you should understand how the psychology of want works. And once you understand, you can stop suffering and start constructing the relationships you want to have. But let's get back to fear, because I need you to experience the urgency of this. Every day that passes, every time you tolerate their disinterest, you are reinforcing a habit. You are training them to your brain and his, so that this toxic dynamic feels normal. And the patterns, my love, are very tough to break once established. Neuroplasticity acts in both directions. Just as you can by developing new, healthy brain connections, you can also enhance detrimental neural pathways. Every time you impatiently await their call, every time you rationalize their behavior, every time you settle for less than you deserve, you're doing just that. You are programming your brain for sadness, and he's being trained to, learning that you can do the least and get the most, that you can disappear and return without penalties, that you love is unconditional in the worst meaning of the word, not because you're a saint, but because you're frightened of losing it. And learn to say a no without fear once established. That dynamic is almost tough to undo within the same relationship. Almost, because there's a window of chance, a short window where you can still change the laws of the game. But that window is its closing. Every day that passes, every week you accept the intolerable, that the window closes a bit more. And when it closes entirely, when he's so comfortable with your emotional servitude that I don't even have to think about you, you're going to learn something dreadful. You're going to learn that you no longer have any power in the relationship, that you have become a piece of furniture, something that is there, that serves its purpose, but that does not generate any connection emotion. And human beings require emotion. We need to feel something intense to keep us connected. And if you don't evoke any feeling in them, because you're entirely predictable and always, if it's available, he'll look for that excitement elsewhere. It's that simple. Cruel, that's a reality. He wants to know what stimulates a man. Uncertainty, challenge, the idea that is to earn your time, your attention, your body, your love. When all that is guaranteed, when he knows if you have it effortlessly, boredom is inevitable. No matter how beautiful you are, no matter how excellent you are cooked, no matter how much you love it, if there's no challenge, if there's no mystery, if there's no longer that small dosage of uncertainty, desire dies, and with want, everything else dies. And now I know. You're thinking about all the times you were told that true love isn't a game, that if you have to behave like if you use certain ways to sustain their attention, then it's not real love. And again, you're right in principle, but we live in practice. And in practice, all the interactions contain power dynamics. All interactions demand effort. All relationships need both parties to participate. The sections remain intriguing, engaging, and valuable. It's not about playing games. It's about not forgetting oneself in the sake of love. It's about retaining your individuality, your interests, your life. Because when you lose that, you lose at the only thing that actually attracted him to you in the first place. Do you remember when you met? Do you recall who you were back then? What a moment. You were undoubtedly a woman with your own life, with friends, hobbies, plans. You were mysterious because he didn't know you totally. You were a struggle because he didn't know if he could have you, and that drove him insane. That's what made him thinking about you all the time. That's what made him look for you, call you, and make an attempt to impress you. What happened to the woman? Where is she now? Because I guarantee you that if that woman returned, he would return to her. The problem is that many women, once they secure that they stop being that person in the relationship, they completely relax. They leave their interests, make them the center of their universe. And that's when everything starts to deteriorate. But there's something else, something I haven't told you yet, and it's fundamental. When you change, when you start valuing yourself and setting boundaries, and one of two things will happen. Either he'll answer positively, or he needs to start seeking you out more, valuing you more, treating you better, or he's going to slip away. And be mindful of this. The second alternative worries you. But let me tell you something you need to burn into your mind. If he moves away as you start to appreciate yourself, then he was never the proper man for you. There are no nuances, no exclusions. A man who only wants you when you're accessible, submissive, available, and without bounds. He's not a man who loves you. He's a man who is exploiting you. And certainly, losing him is going to hurt. It's going to hurt like hell. But you know what? Give it more. Spend the next 10, 15, 20 years with someone who doesn't value you, reaching 70 and understanding you wasted your most valuable decades of precious things in your life, waiting for someone to give you the crumbs of adoration that you should have given yourself. That's it. My love, that's a pain that never heals. It's a remorse that haunts you to the grave. So, yeah, there is risk in what I'm going to teach you. There is a possibility that by putting limits, by respecting yourself, by no longer being available all the time, he might decide that it's a lot of effort and I'm leaving. But I'd much rather you go first, with your head held high, with your keep your dignity intact, rather than begging for affection for the rest of your life. And I'll tell you something else. If he goes because you learn to respect yourself, it's doing you a favor. It's releasing you, so that you may discover someone who truly values you, someone for whom your dignity is not a burden, but a gift. And now let's talk about time, because time is your enemy if you don't act now. At 45, 50, 55, 60 years old, the market, relationships change. I don't like to express things like this, but it's the reality. Men your age are looking for. Younger women are either in established relationships or dragging about so much emotional baggage that they're more like rebuilding projects than potential partners. This doesn't mean that you can't find love at any age. Of course you can. But it means you can't afford to squander years with someone who doesn't value you. Every year that passes with that person, the wrong thing to do is spend a year not available to the right person. A year in which your self-esteem erodes a little more. It's a year in which you get a little more acclimated to settling. And there's a point of no return, believe me, a time where you've suffered so much, you've accepted so little, you don't even know what you deserve anymore. You can't even imagine a relationship. Healthy, because you've never been in one. And your children, if you have them, are healthy. Seeing all this, they are learning from you what love is, how they should treat you, what they should endure. If you have girls, you're teaching them to be submissive. If you have sons, you're teaching them that they can treating women with indifference. And that legacy, that pattern you're in, by passing it on, it will continue into the next generation. Unless you break it, unless you decide that here this chain of harmful relationships ends with you. So what are you going to do? Are you going to keep waiting for him? Will he magically change? Are you going to keep defending his behavior? Are you going to keep telling yourself that you love him so deeply that can it tolerate anything? Because let me tell you something about love. Real love, mature love, worthwhile love doesn't require you to delete yourself. He's not asking you to suffer the abuse. He's not asking you to wait around like a fool while he determines if he's had enough. Value your time. True love contributes to your life, empowers you, and makes you better person. And if what you have doesn't do that, then it's not love, it's addiction. Its codependency is dread disguised as passion. And emotional addiction is, true, as real as any other addiction. When you're hooked on someone who provides you inconsistent attention, your brain releases dopamine in patterns strikingly similar to those of compulsive gambling. It's the same mechanism. A little reward here, nothing there, a little more over here. It's the variable reinforcement scheme, the most potent thing that exists to cause addiction, and that's why you can't quit even when it hurts you. That's why every time when you decide that enough is enough, a call from them, a message, a simple gesture, is enough for you to come back, running. But that addiction can be broken. It can be treated. It can be replaced with something better, with something healthy, with self-love, with dignity, with the ability to be alone without feeling incomplete. And when you reach that stage, when you no longer need it, but simply want it, if he's up to the challenge, everything changes, completely everything, because you're not bargaining from a position of weakness, but from a position of strength. You're no longer pleading, but deciding. And the men, believe me, men notice that difference on a visceral basis. A man can smell desperation. He can feel the desire, and that pushes him away, faster than anything else. On the other hand, when a woman exudes confidence, when she knows her worth, when he's clear that he's not going to tolerate crumbs, something in the male brain, attraction based on respect versus need, red heart active, something primitive, something profound, something that tells him, this woman is special. She's worth it. I have to win her over or I'll lose her. And that's when it starts he looks for you. When he starts calling, when he starts making plans, when he starts introducing you with pride, when she starts treating you like what you are, a queen who can choose to stay or leave. But to get to that point, the point is, you have to do some inner work. You can't just act like you have courage. You have to believe. You have to genuinely know you have it. Because if you're just acting, he's going to notice. Humans are incredibly good at detecting inconsistencies. If your words say one thing, but your body language, your tone of voice, your energy say something else, he's going to pick up on that. True. That's why it's not about superficial techniques. It's about real transformation. And that transformation begins with a brutal question you have to ask yourself right now. Do you love yourself? No nose piece, not in theory. Do you really love yourself? Do you treat yourself with respect, the care, the consideration with which you treat him? Because whatever this is, what the answer is no. I bet you demand more of yourself. Criticize yourself more. Give yourself more. I give him less credit than I give him. I bet you justify your own mistreatment of yourself in ways you would never justify if it came from someone else. And that's the problem, not with him, with you. Because if you don't value yourself, no one else will. If you don't respect yourself, no one else will. If you don't prioritize yourself, you'll always be last on everyone else's list. And that's not humility. It's not generosity. It's not love. It is self-destruction. It is martyrdom. It is a slow and painful way of erasing yourself, same as the map. And in the end, when nothing remains of you, when you are only an echo of what you used to be, not even he will be there. Because who wants to be with someone who doesn't even love themselves? So are you ready to change? Are you ready to do whatever it takes to transform yourself into the woman he can't stop wanting? Because I'm warning you, it won't be easy. It will require you to confront uncomfortable truths about yourself. It will require changing patterns you've had your whole life. Will require you to step out of your comfort zone and do things they're going to be scary. But the alternative is to stay exactly where you are. And you already know where that path leads, to the loneliness, resentment, remorse. So take a deep breath, open your mind, let go of your defenses, and get ready to learn what no one ever taught you about how male desire works. About building relationships from a place of power, not need. About becoming the kind of woman you are, that a man seeks, not because he needs it, but because he knows that if you do it, you're going to lose it. And let's start with the basics, with what I call the principle of scarcity. This principle is fundamental and explains why the more available you are, the less you are valued. This is how economics works. This is how psychology works. This is how relationships work, that's right. When something is abundant and easy to obtain, its perceived value decreases. When something is scarce and difficult to obtain, its perceived value increases. This isn't cynicism, it's reality. The human brain works. Now, applying the principle of scarcity doesn't mean disappearing. It doesn't mean making yourself mysterious. As a teenager, genuinely means having a life so rich, so full, so interesting, that your time becomes a valuable resource. It means having projects, passions, friendships, goals that don't depend on him. It means that when he asks to see you, sometimes he genuinely doesn't. You can because you have other commitments, and not made-up commitments real. Because when you're busy building the best version of yourself, when you're focused on your personal, professional, and spiritual growth, time truly becomes scarce. And here lies the paradox. Beautiful. When you stop chasing him and start chasing your own dreams, he starts pursuing you. When you stop making him your project and you turn it into your own project, he realizes he's missing out on something valuable. Because men, my dear, want what others want. We want what seems valuable. We want what's in demand. And a woman who is actively building her best life, a woman who is growing, who is shining, who is busy, being incredible, that woman automatically becomes more desirable. But be careful, don't you can fake this. You can't tell him you're busy while you're sitting down, at home waiting for him to text you. Your energy gives you away. Your vibe betrays you. It's a betrayal. You really need to be busy doing things that matter to you. And that's where the second part of this transformation comes in. You have to rediscover who you are beyond this relationship. You have to remember what you were passionate about before you met him. You have to reconnect with your dreams, your goals, your essence. When was the last time you did something just for yourself? When was the last time you signed up for a course? Started you enjoyed your hobby, going out with your friends without feeling guilty, without being overly concerned. You've been on the phone waiting for him to need you? Because if you can't remember, that's your problem. You've been so deluded in this relationship that you no longer know where you end and where he begins. And that's the fastest way to kill desire. Desire requires two whole individuals who choose to be together, not two desperate halves, trying to form a whole. And now comes something that will sound contradictory, but is absolutely crucial. You have to learn to be comfortable with the possibility of losing it. Yes, you heard right. As long as you're afraid of losing it, as long as that fear guides your decisions, it has all the power. Because that fear makes you accept anything. That fear makes you tolerate the intolerable. That fear makes you a prisoner of a relationship that probably isn't serving you anymore. But when you get to the point where you can honestly say, from the depth of your being, I'm okay with losing it, if that means respecting myself, all the power returns to you because you are no longer there, negotiating from a place of fear, but from integrity. You are no longer begging, but choosing. And that energy, that strength is magnetic. It draws people to you instead of pushing her away. And let me tell you how you get to that point. It's not about convincing you with pretty words isn't enough. It's about action. It's about starting to invest in yourself the same way you've invested in him. It's about building a life so beautiful, so complete, so satisfying that a man in it is a wonderful addition, but it's not a necessity. And when you reach that level of personal fulfillment, believe me, men feel it, they perceive it. And good men, the ones who are truly worthwhile, are drawn to it, energy like moths to a flame. Now, let's talk about something many women, they completely misunderstand vulnerability. They've told you that you must be vulnerable, that you must open up, that you must show your feelings. And all of that is true, but with a huge nuance that no one explains to you. Vulnerability is powerful when it comes from strength. Vulnerability is weak when it comes from need. Do you see the difference? When you say, I miss you from a place of fullness, from a place where you are good, but their presence adds to you. That is beautiful. When you tell him, I miss you from a place of desperation, from a place where you need him to feel complete. That's repellent. Men respect the vulnerability that comes of strength. We admire it. It connects us. But the vulnerability that it comes from weakness, it overwhelms us, makes us want to run away, makes us feel responsible for your happiness. And that is a burden that no one can carry because your happiness is your responsibility, not his, never his. And as long as you keep waiting for him to make you happy, if you think he'll fill your voids, that he'll give meaning to your life, you'll be chasing a fantasy that doesn't exist. Genuine happiness comes from within. It comes from knowing who you are. It comes from liking yourself. It comes from having purpose. And when you have that solid foundation, a man in your signs of emotional self-neglect life is like the cherry on top, delicious, wonderful, but the cake is still amazing. And I met the cherry. That's the attitude that makes a man constantly seek you out, because he knows you're the whole package. I'm not halfway through a recipe waiting for him to bring the missing ingredients. And now I want to talk to you about something that maybe no one has told you this clearly. Men need to feel that we are important to you, but not indispensable. That's the fine line. When a man feels he is essential for your emotional survival, he feels trapped, he feels suffocated, because nobody wants to be being responsible for another adult in that way is exhausting, impossible, and eventually it makes us run away. But when a man feels you're a woman, she completes herself, choosing him, valuing him, appreciating him. But she'd be fine without him if things didn't work out. That's it, when he's truly committed. Because he's not with you out of obligation, guilt, or need. He's with you because they genuinely want to be there, because you add value to their life, because your presence improves their life instead of complicating it. And this leads to a crucial point that I want you to listen to very carefully. Many women believe that being indispensable, they ensure the relationship. They become the secretary, the cook, his nurse, the organizer of his life. They do everything for him, thinking that this way she's going to leave them. And it's exactly the opposite. When you become her housekeeper, when you do everything by doing this, you'll only make him see you as useful, not desirable. And usefulness doesn't generate passion. It creates comfort, and comfort kills desire. Do you want me to always be chasing you? Stop solving all their problems. Stop always being available for their needs. Stop sacrificing your own time, plans for him. Because every time you do that, every time you put yourself last, you're teaching him that your value lies in being there to serve, not to be loved. And believe me, men, we treat people exactly the way they teach us they should be treated. So how should it be? Simple. You live your life. He lives his. And when you meet, it's because they both choose to be together at that moment, not because one needs something from the other. When he seeks you out, sometimes he doesn't. You're available because you're genuinely doing something important to yourself. Her brain registers. This woman has a life. This woman isn't waiting for me. This woman is rare. And the scarcity, as I already told you, increases perceived value. But here's something else. Important. I'm not talking about playing hard to get. I'm not talking about deliberately ignoring him to manipulate him. That's immature and counterproductive. I'm talking about actually having one. Life is so rich that sometimes you simply can't be available. And there's a huge difference between the two. One is authentic. The other is strategy. And men, although we don't always express it well, can feel that difference. And now a brutal question I need to ask you. What are you doing with your life that would make him proud to be with you? No, for your beauty, not for how you treat him, for who you are as a person, for your achievements, your goals, your projects. Because quality men, the ones who are truly worthwhile, don't just seek a beautiful or accommodating woman. They seek a partner, someone who is building something in life, someone with ambitions, someone who inspires them. If your only identity is being their partner, if your only achievement is maintaining a relationship, then you are expendable. I know it sounds harsh, but it's the truth. Men get bored with women who have nothing interesting to offer, to contribute beyond what is available. And I don't mean money. I don't mean status. I mean passion, to purpose, to that spark in the eyes of people who are building something that matters to them. When a woman tells me about her business, her creative project, her social work, whatever it is that she is passionate about, it's true. Something inside me is activated. That woman immediately becomes more attractive. Not because their project necessarily matters to me, but because passion is attractive, purpose is seductive, ambition is magnetic. And all of that is lost when your only purpose is to please him. Now I know that some of you are thinking, but Walter, I have children, responsibilities. I can't just throw myself into chasing my dreams like I'm 20 years old. And you're right. The real life has limitations, but there's always something that you can do it. There's always a little space to grow something that's just yours. Maybe you can't start a business, but you can read books about something you're passionate about. Maybe you can take in-person classes, but you can learn online. You might not be able to travel, but you can explore your own city in new ways. The point is not the magnitude of the project. The point is that you have something that is yours, something that makes you shine, something you can speak with enthusiasm. Because when you have that inner fire, your entire energy changes, and that energy is what makes a man unable to stop pursuing you. And now let's talk about body language, because your body communicates more than your words. When you're desperate for his attention, your body screams it. You lean toward him. You follow him with your eyes. Your voice changes. Your posture becomes you become submissive, and all that she tells her primitive brain. This woman, she needs me. I can relax. I've got her now. And that's when it begins to take you for granted. Instead, when you're centered on yourself, when you're comfortable in your own space, your body language communicates something completely different. You maintain your personal space. You're not constantly seeking their approval with your eyes. Your voice is firm. Your posture is upright. And that's what she tells her brain. This woman values herself. This woman knows her worth. I have to make an effort if I want to keep her. And no, I'm not saying you're cold. I'm not saying you're distant. I'm saying be centered. Be present in your own power. Occupy your space without I apologize, because that presence, that ability to be comfortable with yourself, the lack of constant external validation, is incredibly appealing. Now, something I see all the time that breaks my heart. Women who, they apologize for everything, for having needs, for expressing opinions, for take up space. And every time you apologize for simply existing, for simply being human, you are reinforcing the idea that you are less than, that your needs don't matter, that your opinion doesn't matter. And believe me, he's going to treat you with exactly the respect you deserve. You treat yourself. So stop apologizing. Stop minimizing your needs. Stop acting like it's a privilege that he pays attention to you, because it isn't. It is a privilege to be with you. It is their privilege to have access to your time, your body, your heart, your mind. And if he doesn't see it that way, if he treats you as if he's doing you a favor by being there, then he's not the man for you. It's that simple. And now comes the part that will probably be the hardest for you. You have to learn to say no. Not when he asks to see you at the last minute, and you had other plans. Not when he asks you to do something that makes you uncomfortable. No when he violates your boundaries. Not when he treats you with less respect than you deserve. And I know you're scared. Scared that if you say no, he'll go find someone who will say yes. But let me tell you something. If he prefers someone who always says yes, who has no limits, who lets herself be treated any way she wants. So he's looking for an employee, not a partner. And you deserve more than that. Quality men respect. Limits, in fact, they expect them. A man who respects himself wants a woman who also respects herself, because she knows that a woman without limits will eventually end up resentful, exhausted, empty, and nobody wants to live with that resentment. So, when you set clear boundaries, when you defend your space, your time, your dignity, quality men see it as a sign of mental health. Toxic men see it as a problem. And that's your perfect filter. If he reacts badly to your boundaries, if he gets angry, if he makes you feel guilty, if you accuse him of not loving you enough, then you've just received invaluable information. You've just discovered that this is the person you were thinking of. And even though it hurts, even though it's difficult, it's for the best. Knowing this now is better than continuing to invest years of your life in someone who will never respect you. But if he reacts well, if he adjusts his behavior, if he shows that he respects your boundaries, even if they make him uncomfortable at first, then you have him, a man with whom it is worthwhile to build something, because mutual respect is the only foundation on which can build a healthy and lasting relationship. And now let's talk about sex, because I know many women use the sex as a bargaining chip or as a way to keep a man interested, and that it's one of the biggest mistakes you can make. Because when you use sex as a tool for manipulation, when you give expecting something in return, whether it's attention, commitment, or love, what you're doing is devaluing yourself. Sex in a healthy relationship is an expression of mutual desire. It's something how to cultivate solid self-love that you both want because you both enjoy it. It's not a favor you're doing for them. It's not an obligation. It's not a transaction. And when you turn it into any of those things, you kill the desire. Because genuine desire cannot exist where there is obligation, duty, exchange. So yes, have sex enjoy it, but do it because you want to, because it attracts you, because you want it, not because you expect it to keep him by your side, not because you think that that's what you have to do to keep her from leaving. Because believe me, if the only glue holding your relationship together is sex, then that the relationship is already dead. It may continue to move like a zombie for a while, but there's no life there anymore. And here's the beautiful paradox. When you stop using sex as a tool and start genuinely enjoying it, if you allow yourself to be sexual for your own pleasure and not to keep him interested, your sexual energy changes completely. You become more attractive because your desire is genuine, not calculated, and men sense that difference. We feel it when a woman truly desires us versus when she is fulfilling a duty. But here's the important limit. You don't have sex with someone who doesn't treat you well just because you expect sex to change that. Change. It doesn't work that way. Sex doesn't turn a bad man into a good one. It doesn't transform indifference into love. It doesn't make someone who disrespects you suddenly value you. The only thing what it does is confuse your emotions and make it harder for you to walk away when you should. So yes, be sexual, be sensual, enjoy your body and his. But only when he has won you over. That access, only when he treats you with respect. Only when he demonstrates with actions, not words, that value what you have to offer. Because the body is a temple, my dear, and not just anyone deserves to enter. And speaking of body, let me tell you something about physical appearance. It does matter. Anyone who tells you otherwise is wrong. He's lying, but not in the way you think. It doesn't matter if you're 20 with a perfect body or 55 with stretch marks of life. What matters is how you feel in your own skin. What matters is whether you take care of yourself, whether you value yourself. Invest in yourself. A man isn't attracted to perfection. He is attracted to confidence, to the comfort a woman has with their own bodies. I've seen women who, according to conventional standards, aren't beautiful, but who radiate so much they exude confidence, such comfort with who they are, that they are absolutely magnetic. And I have seen objectively beautiful women. They are invisible because their insecurity completely overshadows them. So yes, take care of yourself, exercise, not to be more attractive to him, but because it makes you feel good. Feel good, eat well, not to have the perfect body, but because your body, she deserves good nutrition. Dress in a way that makes you feel powerful, not to impress him. Because when you do all these things for yourself, the confidence you build is authentic, and that authenticity is 1,000 times more attractive than anything else. Artificial physical perfection. And now I want to talk to you about something that many women completely forget, your social circle. Men, pay close attention to who you surround yourself with. If all your friends are bitter women who speak ill of men, your circle is full of drama, and negativity tells us something about you. On the other hand, if you have strong friendships, if you are surrounded by people who support you, who inspire you, who challenge you as you grow, that immediately makes you more attractive because your social circle, your emotional health, is a reflection of your values. And the men who are worthwhile, the ones who are looking for something real, they pay attention to that. They want to know they're not going to enter a world of drama. They want to know that your life has balance. You have support. You won't be relying on them as your sole source of happiness. So, cultivate your friendships. Invest time in them. Don't abandon your friends every time a man appears, which is one of the most common and destructive mistakes, because your friends they were there before him and will probably be there after him. And that support network, that community is what keeps you strong, centered, and healthy. And here's the beautiful side effect. When he sees that you have a rich social life, that you have people who value you, that you're not sitting at home waiting for he give you attention, his brain registers competition. It registers, this woman is this woman, who is valuable to others, has options. I'd better treat her well, or I'll lose her. And that the unconscious mind works wonders in how you treat someone. Now, let's talk about communication, because that's where many women make mistakes. Fatal mistakes. You've been told that you must communicate everything. That communication is the key to relationships, and it's true, but with important nuances. There's a huge difference between communicating and emotionally vomiting. When you communicate, you do it from a place of clarity. You know what you want to say, you say it directly, but respectfully. No, you attack, you don't blame, you simply express your truth. But when you vomit emotionally, you're reacting. You're in panic or anger mode. You say things you later regret. You'll regret it, and that damages relationships in ways that are sometimes irreparable. So, yes, communicate. But do it when you're calm, when you process your emotions, when you can speak rationally, not from emotional hijacking. And it uses the famous I phrase method. I feel, I need, I prefer. No, you always, you never, you are. Because into the moment you start attacking it, its brain goes defensive and stops listening. And here's something that women need to understand, man. We don't process emotions from in the same way as you. When you bombard us with words, with emotions intense, we become overwhelmed. Our brain enters problem-solving mode or escape mode. It's not that we don't care. It's that our brain literally, it works differently under emotional pressure. So when you need to talk about something important, do it in a quiet moment. Be brief. Be direct. Say what you need to say without beating around the bush. Endless. And then give it space to process. Don't expect it to respond immediately. He'll respond immediately with the emotional depth you desire. Give him time, and if he is a man of quality, will return with a thoughtful, considered answer. But if, after giving him time and space, he simply ignores what you communicated, if it minimizes your feelings, if it makes you feel like you're exaggerating, then you have information. You have information that this man is incapable of maintaining a mature relationship. And even though it hurts, even though it's difficult, it's better to know so you can make the decision. Decisions based on clarity. And now something that many women do, which is absolutely devastating. To haunt the man with words, to send him messages, long explanations of your feelings, calling him repeatedly when he doesn't answer, writing him paragraphs about how much you love him, how much you need him, how much his absence hurts. And each of those words, each of those messages pushes him further away, because that's not communication, that's neediness. Desperately seeking validation, and desperate need repels, drives away. It makes the man feel that he is being pursued, cornered, trapped, and his instinct tells him, flee, run, get away from this intensity that wants to devour you. So, here's the golden rule. If he's not responding, leave. Stop writing. If he's not calling, stop chasing. Take his silence as the answer is what it is. Because silence is an answer. Silence is telling you, saying, I'm not interested, or I'm not ready, or you're not my priority. And even though all those answers hurt, they are answers, and they deserve to be respected. Not because he deserves it, but because you deserve not to beg for attention. When you learn to respect someone's silence, man, when you learn to stop chasing, something magical is going to happen, or he'll come back, because he'll notice your absence and want you back, or he won't. Come back, and you'll be able to start healing and move on. Both of you. The results are good. Both free you from this tortuous limbo of not knowing where you're standing still. And while we're on the topic of communication, let me talk to you about social media, that minefield. Modern world where relationships are going to die. Don't post passive-aggressive messages. Don't upload them. Quotes about heartbreak that he'll see and feel guilty about. Don't use your stories as weapons to make them feel jealous or to communicate what you don't dare to tell them directly. That's childish, that's pathetic, and that makes you look desperate. If you have something, tell him directly, or don't say anything, but don't use social media as your message board. Passive, aggressive, because all you achieve is making yourself look insecure, manipulative, and frankly a little ridiculous. And none of that makes you more attractive. Use social media. Social media to show off your amazing life, to share your achievements, your adventures, the beautiful things you're doing building, not to send encrypted messages to a man who is probably not even paying attention. Because when you use social media to genuinely show what you're doing well, you're growing so much, that's when he starts to pay attention. That's when he begins to wonder if he's losing you. And now comes something absolutely fundamental that changes everything. The dynamic, the rule of reciprocity. In a healthy relationship, effort, the attention, affection, everything must flow in both directions. If you are always a she who calls, she who plans, she who strives, she who gives while you alone receive, that's not a relationship. It's a one-way charity donation. So, here's what you're going to do. You're going to pause. You're going to stop initiating contact. You're going to stop being the one who always makes the next move and see what happens. You'll see if he fills that void. Go see if he notices your absence and does something about it. Let's see if there's reciprocity, or if all this time you've been in an imaginary relationship where only you are investing. And I know this scares you. Why do you think? What if it doesn't fill that space? What if you just let us walk away? And my answer is, then you just received the most valuable information possible. You just discovered that he's not as interested as you are. You thought that he didn't value the relationship as much as you did. And even though that truth hurts, like the devil, it's infinitely better to know now than to keep investing in something that will never give you what you want. You need to, because let me be brutally honest with you. If a man is interested, he'll come looking for you. It's that simple. Know the law of effective reciprocity infinity, no matter how busy he is, no matter how complicated his life is. If you matter, find a way to let him know you exist for him. Men, we're not complicated about this. When we want something, we go for it. And if he's not after you, if he doesn't look for you, if he doesn't make the effort, it's because he doesn't want it enough. Period. And no, there are no exceptions, no special cases. There aren't, but he's different. If he's interested, he'll look for you. If he's not looking for you, he won't. He's interested enough in you. And you can spend the next 5 years justifying his lack of interest, inventing reasons, convincing yourself that he's shy, scared, or hurt. Or you can accept reality and use your time and energy in someone who truly values you. And now I want to talk to you about something that probably no one has ever told you. It's okay to be selfish. Yes, you heard right. It's okay to put your needs first. First, it's okay to say no to things you don't want to do. It's okay to prioritize your well-being over his comfort. Because extreme altruism, martyrdom, always put yourself last, doesn't make you a saint, it makes you a victim. And men don't want victims. We want partners. We want women who know what they want and go for it. We want women who have enough self-love to take care of themselves. Themselves first. Because only from that place of personal fulfillment can you truly give to a relationship without emptying yourself in the process. Then stop feeling guilty for setting boundaries. Stop apologizing for having needs. Stop acting like it's selfish to want to be treated with respect. Respect and dignity, because it isn't. It's the bare minimum. It's basic. It's what every human being deserves love. And if someone makes you feel like you're asking for too much just because you want love, why should they? Genuine, consistent respect and dignified treatment. That person doesn't deserve to be in your life. And now let's talk about ex-partners. Because I know many of you are trying to win someone back. And let me be clear, getting an ex back is possible, but only under certain conditions. First condition, he has to have valued you at some point. If he never valued you, if he always treated you badly, then there's nothing to recover. That wasn't a relationship. It was abuse. Second condition, time must have passed. Enough for both of them to have grown. If they've barely separated and you're already trying to get back together won't change anything. The same problems will resurface because neither of them has done the necessary inner work. Third condition, you have to have changed. You can't really pretend you've changed just to get it back. You have to have done genuine work on yourself. You have to be an improved version of yourself, who you were when you were together, and he needs to see that change naturally, not because you're forcing it on him. Advertising. So if you're trying to win someone back, the best strategy is paradoxical. Stop trying to get it back. Focus completely on becoming the best version of yourself. Focus on healing, in growing, in building such an incredible life that he won't be needed for your happiness. And if after that process you still love him, and he comes back having done his own work internal, then maybe they have a chance. But if your only the goal is to win him back, if everything you do is to get his attention, to make him jealous, to manipulate him, then you're mistaken. Going back to the relationship, then you're building on rotten foundations, and that relationship is going to collapse again, probably faster than the first time. And now, let me tell you something that might. Sometimes you don't want to listen. Sometimes the best decision is to let it go. Sometimes the love isn't enough. Sometimes two people can love each other, but not be compatible. Sometimes a story ends its end, and clinging on only prolongs the pain. I know you want to believe that if you love enough, if you try hard enough, You'll make it happen. That's enough. If you change enough, he'll value you. But the reality is that you can't make someone love you. You can't force someone to value you. No, you can turn someone into the partner you need. They're either there or they're not. He chooses you or he doesn't. And accepting that, even though it hurts, is the first step towards your own future. Liberation. Because as long as you remain attached to someone who doesn't reciprocate your feelings, you are blocking your freedom. There's a possibility that someone who does will come along. As long as you keep investing energy in someone who doesn't value you, you won't. You don't have the space or energy to build your own life. As long as you keep waiting for him to change, you're wasting time. Precious thing you'll never get back. And time, my dear, is the most precious resource. The most valuable thing you have is not money, not possessions, but time, because time is precious. It's the only thing you can't get back. Every day you spend in a relationship that doesn't nourish you is a day lost for life. Always. And when you reach 60 or 70, you won't look back fondly on the years you spent waiting for someone to value you. You're going to feel anger. You're going to feel regret. You'll wish you'd had the courage to leave sooner. So, do me a favor. Close your eyes for a moment. Imagine yourself 20 years from now, looking back. What do you want to see? Do you want to see a woman who respected herself, who valued herself, who chose her dignity over the fear of loneliness? Or do you want seeing a woman who spent 2 decades waiting for crumbs from someone who never valued her? Because that decision is taking it now at this moment, with every action you take or fail to take. And now let's talk about something practical, very specific. Let's talk about exactly what to do to make him seek you out. Not theory, not philosophy, but specific actions you can implement today. That's right, because I know you need tools, not just pretty words. You need a plan, and that's exactly it. What I'm going to give you. First technique, the mirror rule. This technique is simple, yet devastatingly effective. It consists of reflecting exactly the level of effort he puts into the relationship. If he takes 4 hours to reply to your messages, you take 4 hours. If he contacts you once a week, you contact him once a week. If he makes plans a week in advance, in anticipation, you do the same. The key here is that you're not being vindictive. You're not trying to punish him. You're simply balancing the scales. You're ceasing to be the one who he always gives more. And when you do this, one of 2 things will happen. Either he'll notice the change will happen, and he'll start trying harder to match you, or he'll continue with his low effort, and you'll receive the... It's clear that this relationship has no future, but you have to be consistent. You can't apply the mirror rule for 2 days and then go back to your old patterns. You have to stick with it, because if you break the pattern too soon, all you're teaching is that it can wait and eventually you'll come back to pursue him. Second technique, the independence calendar. Here you go, you're literally going to need a calendar, and you're going to fill it up. You're going to schedule activities that don't include him. Classes, get-togethers with friends, hobbies, exercise, personal projects. The goal is to fill your calendar so full of things that you genuinely feel fulfilled. It matters that when he wants to see you, sometimes you simply can't. And this isn't pretending to be busy. This is genuinely be busy building the life you want. Because when your calendar is full of things that they make you happy, and your emotional dependence on them naturally diminishes, you are no longer sitting there waiting for him to give your day meaning. You already have meaning. You already have purpose, and he will feel it. Third technique, the zones of silence. This is difficult, but necessary. You're going to establish specific periods of the day where you don't check your phone, where you don't answer messages, where you're fully present in what you are doing. It could be an hour in the morning, 2 hours in the afternoon, whatever works for your life. The goal is 2 ways. First, you train yourself not to be constantly anxiously waiting for their message. Second, when you finally respond, your answers are more thoughtful, more focused, less reactive, and he notices that you're not available 24/7. You have a life that doesn't revolve around your phone. Fourth, technical, high-value communication. This means that every interaction that your interactions with him should be positive, interesting, and contribute something. Nothing like constant complaining, no emotional need, no drama. When you speak with him, you share interesting things about your life. You genuinely ask about his. You keep the conversation going. Light and pleasant. I'm not saying you should pretend to be happy if you're not. I'm saying that the space of your partner isn't the place to unload all your negativity. That's what your friends are for. Your therapist, your journal. With it, especially during the stages where the relationship needs rebuilding, keep positive interactions. Because human beings are simple. We focus on what makes us feel good and avoid what makes us feel bad. Fifth technique, the power of no contact strategic. This is probably the most powerful and the most difficult. It consists of during periods when you simply don't initiate contact. Nothing, zero. You don't call, no. You write to him. You don't look for him on social media. Nothing. It could be a week, 2 weeks, a month, depending on the letting go of the fear of losing situation. And during this period of no contact, you focus completely on you, in healing, in growing, in remembering who you are without him. And something magical happens when you're not there, when your attention is no longer guaranteed. Their brain starts to wonder, where are you? What are you doing? What are you doing? If he's losing you, and that space, that absence can do more. To rekindle his interest, send him 1,000 messages telling him how much you miss him. But be careful, no contact isn't a solution. Manipulation tactics. It's a genuine space for both of them to assess whether they really want this relationship. And you have to be prepared for the possibility that after the no, you might discover that you don't really need contact, that you're better off alone. And that's it. Although it wasn't what you planned, it will be the best possible outcome. Sixth technique, constant updates. This means you're constantly working on improving some aspect of your life. Your appearance, yes, but also your mind, your skills, your knowledge. You take a course, learn something new, change your style, try things out, a different hobby, whatever it is, but you're constantly evolving. Because when a man sees that you're growing, that you're not the same stagnant person you were 6 months ago, your brain registers, this woman is evolving. If I don't evolve with her, I'm going to lose her. If I don't move on to someone else, she's going to notice. It's becoming so incredible. And that fear of losing yourself, that recognition of your growing value, is a motivator. Powerful. 7th technique, strategic exits. Go out, have fun. Go places, go up post photos on your social media where you're clearly having a good time. No sad photos looking for sympathy. No. Indirect photos. Photos where you're genuinely shining, smiling, enjoying life. Don't do it to make him jealous. Do it because you're truly building a life worth living. But the side effect is that when he sees that you're doing well, that you're not at home crying over him, that you have an active social life, his brain panics. Why is she doing so well without me? What am I missing? Is there someone else? 8th technique, the quality circle. Surround yourself with high-value people. People who are doing things with their lives. People who inspire you, successful, happy, healthy people. Because we're the average of the 5 people we spend the most time with. And if you surround yourself with amazing people, you become amazing too. And when he sees that your circle is of high-quality people, automatically increase your perceived value. Because we thought if all these amazing people want to be with her, there must be something special about her. It's the principle behind why everyone wants to get into the club with the line at the door. 9th technique, the selective vulnerability. This is key. Don't open yourself up completely from the first. Don't tell them all your traumas, all your fears, all your insecurities at the first opportunity. Vulnerability is powerful, but it must be managed carefully. It must be earned. Share deep things only when he has shown that he is reliable, when he has proven that he respects your trust, when he has shown that he is genuinely interested in getting to know you, not just in using your information against you. Because of misplaced vulnerability and the wrong person becomes ammunition to hurt you. 10th technique, non-negotiable limits. This is fundamental. You need to have 3 absolutely clear boundaries that you cannot cross. You will not tolerate them crossing paths under any circumstances. They may not tolerate it. Disrespect, intolerant infidelity, intolerant verbal abuse, whatever that means to you, non-negotiable. And when he crosses one of those lines, there are immediate consequences. Not empty threats, real consequences. It could be space. It could be ending the relationship, whatever, but there has to be a consequence, because without consequences, there are no limits, just suggestions that nobody respects. And here's the beauty of it. When you have clear boundaries and you enforce them consistently, men of quality respect them. They might test them at first, of course, because we all test them, the limits. It's human nature. But when they see you're serious, when they see you're willing to step back, if they either don't respect you or they start to respect you, or they leave and both outcomes free you. 11th technique, the language of desire. This has to do with how you talk about yourself and the relationship. Never use needy language. I need you. I can't live without you. I'll die if you're not here. That's the language of addiction, not love. Instead, use language of choice. I choose to be with you. I enjoy your company. I value what that we built together. Do you see the difference? One comes from desperation, the other from strength. One makes you look dependent. The other makes you look believable. And power, the ability to choosing, is infinitely more appealing than necessity. 12th technique, the 48-hour rule. When something bothers you, don't react immediately. Wait 48 hours. Process your feelings. Decide if it's really worth it. Conversation, or if it's something you can let go of. And if after 48 hours you still feel you need to talk, do it. But from a calm place, not from emotional reactivity. This technique does two things. It prevents unnecessary arguments caused by impulsive reactions. And when you finally speak, you do so from such a clear, articulate place that he has no choice but to take you seriously. And now, technique specifically related to physical attraction, because yes, that matters too. Don't let your guard down. Don't fall into the trap of thinking that just because you're in a relationship, you can stop taking care of yourself. He doesn't have to see you as perfect all the time, but you don't always have to look disheveled. Maintain a touch of mystery even in everyday life. Seeing you just after waking up with bad breath every day is not something you need to see. You don't have to look your worst all the time. Save something for yourself. Keep some of that charm you had when you first met, not for him, for you, because when you feel attractive, you radiate a different energy. And now, a technique that is almost magical, but requiring a lot of discipline, the intermittent reward technique. This comes from the behavioral psychology. Intermittent and unpredictable rewards generate the strongest response. It is the principle behind slot machines. You don't know when you're going to win, but that uncertainty, it keeps you playing. Applied to relationships, it means that you are sometimes warm, close, and affectionate. Other times you're more distant, more focused on your own things, less available, not in a calculated or cruel way, but simply reflecting your genuine emotional state and priorities. Moment. Sometimes he's your priority. Sometimes you have other priorities. This natural variability keeps your interest active, keeps your brain trying to decipher, and you maintains that small dose of uncertainty that is fundamental to the I wish. Because when you're completely predictable, when you know exactly how you're going to react, what you're going to do, what you're going to say, boredom is inevitable. But be careful. This doesn't mean being emotionally unstable. It doesn't mean being cruel. It means simply being human, having good days and bad days. Having moments where being more available and having busy moments is the difference between being authentic and being a machine programmed to please him. And now a technique that changes everything. The technique of the queen is about treating yourself as if you were the most important person of your life, because you are. When you have to choose between something that is good for you and something that is good for he chooses what's good for you. When you have to decide between your comfort and his, you choose yours. Comfort. This doesn't make you selfish. It makes you balanced. Because probably you spent years, decades, even putting others first. Probably you've been taught that's what makes a good woman, a good partner. But let me tell you something. A good partner doesn't. She negates herself. A good partner values herself and demands to be valued. And when you start treating yourself like a queen, when you set that standard for yourself, others have no choice. Conclusion. You are the choice, not the option that they treat you the same way. Either they're at your level or they fall behind. But you don't lower your standards to accommodate anyone. Now let's talk about something many women overlook. The importance of your energy. Men are very sensitive to feminine energy. Even if we don't always express it, we can feel when a woman is anxious, needy, desperate, and that energy, it pushes us away. On the other hand, when a woman is centered, calm, and self-assured, that same energy attracts us like a magnet. So, work on your energy. Meditate. Do yoga. Go for a walk in nature. Do whatever helps you be centered and calm. Because when you control your energy, when you don't, you're constantly in panic mode about the relationship. But everything is getting better. Your decisions are better. Your communications are clearer. Your appeal increases. And here's something fascinating. When you're in your centered feminine energy, men automatically want to be in your presence. It's something almost magnetic. It's not about physical beauty. It's about that ineffable quality. Being comfortable in your own skin, being at peace with yourself, myself. And that can't be faked. It has to be real. Now, I want to talk to you about something many therapists won't tell you, because it's not politically correct. Men, we need to feel like we're your hero. We need to feel like we're protecting you, providing for you, that we are important things in your life in a specific way. It's not sexism, it's how we're programmed. But here it is, nuance. We need to be your hero, not your lifeline. The difference is crucial. A hero helps someone who is capable, but who appreciates it. The help. A lifeguard rescues someone who is drowning and which cannot function without constant rescue. The first is appealing, the second is exhausting. So, yes, let him do things for you. Let him solve the occasional problem. Let him feel it's useful, but don't make it your savior. Don't make it your only source of information, of stability, because that's too much pressure and it will eventually collapse under the weight of your needs. And let's talk about sex more specifically now, because it's a topic that many women your age feel they can't discuss. We can discuss it openly, but the truth is that sexual desire doesn't end at 45, 50, or 60 years old. It can change, yes. It may require more effort to keep it alive, but it doesn't disappear. And it's an important component of a relationship. Heal. Don't use sex as a weapon. Don't deny it as punishment. Don't reward it. Those are toxic dynamics that kill intimacy. Instead, cultivate your own sexuality. Stay connected to your body. Explore what you like. Communicate what you need. A woman who is comfortable with her sexuality, who knows what she wants and isn't afraid to ask for it. She's incredibly attractive. And here's something men rarely admit, but it's absolutely true. We much prefer a woman who genuinely enjoys sex with us to a woman who is physically attractive. Perfect, present in body, but absent in mind. Sexual authenticity, genuine desire. It's more exciting than any perfect body. So, yes, cultivate that. It's part of you. Don't abandon it just because you're in a stable relationship. You feel like you're too old. Your sexuality is yours. It's for your enjoyment. And when you cultivate it, when you stay connected to that part of yourself, it's reflected in how you relate to he. And now I want to touch on a delicate but important topic, comparison with other women. I know that on social media you see younger, thinner, seemingly more perfect women. And I know you sometimes wonder how you can compete with that. But let me tell you something. You're not competing. You're not in a race. You're building something. Life. And the men who are worthwhile, the ones who have matured, the ones who know what really matters, aren't looking for the Instagram model, is looking for a real partner. Someone with whom so they can talk. Someone who can challenge them intellectually. Someone who has their own life. Someone who brings more to the table than just a pretty face. So stop comparing yourself. Stop feeling like you have to compete. Instead, focus on being the best. Your version of yourself, not someone else's best version. Your version with your unique qualities, your unique story, your unique perspective, because that's what it is. That makes you irreplaceable. And now let's talk about something that is absolutely fundamentally forgiveness. Not necessarily forgiveness toward him, but forgiveness towards others. Yourself for all the mistakes you made in this relationship, for all the times you accepted less than you deserved, for all the time you wasted waiting for him to change. Forgive yourself because you were doing the best you could with the tools you had at the time. You know what that you know now. You weren't who you are now. And clinging to guilt, to remorse, shame, it only keeps you stuck in the past. It only prevents you from moving toward the future that you deserve it. Forgiveness doesn't mean forgetting. It doesn't mean justifying. It means letting go means ceasing to carry that weight on your back. It means freeing yourself so you can write a new chapter in your life. And that new chapter can include him if he truly changes, or don't include it. But whatever the outcome, start with your ability to forgive yourself and move on. And now I'm going to tell you something that's hard to accept, but absolutely true. You can't change the past. You can't undo mistakes. But you can recover lost time. You absolutely can decide what to do from here on out. You can decide to learn the lessons. You can decide to grow. You can choose to be different. And that decision, that choice to get up, and being different is the greatest power you have. No one can take that away from you. No, it doesn't matter what he does or doesn't do. It doesn't matter if he comes back or leaves. You have the power to decide who you want to be. And that power, used correctly, can completely transform your life. So what are you going to do? Will you continue being the same person who's been tolerating crumbs? Or will you become the woman who demands a full feast? Are you going to keep waiting for him to rescue you? Or are you going to become your own hero? Because that choice is yours, entirely yours. And let me tell you what's going to happen when you start implementing these techniques, when you start truly valuing yourself. At first, it'll be uncomfortable. You'll want to go back to your old habits. Your brain will scream. Write to him. Call him.